Back at it again, so got Spencer. You know what time it is? It's time for the top 100 East Texas players of 2025. This is the 30 through 21 edition. For those of you first time hearing this is a list where you have to make a superlative or first team all district in order to be considered, and then you have to have a highlight tape in order for me to grade it. A lot of kids didn't make highlight tapes this year. Most of them, like some guys from last year that made the list, like a Quay Ford, Duncan McGee out of Texas High. Didn't get one from Quebec, didn't get it from some of these major players. And as we get inside the top 30, I'm going to be expecting to see some of these guys, and they just didn't make a highlight tape. And so kind of the whole purpose of this list is to showcase your abilities. And so, that's why you won't see some of those guys on this year's edition. But nonetheless, we've got 30 guys who did make highlight tapes, and so we are going to spotlight those guys from 30 to 21 right here. At number 30, a junior running back from Kilgore High School, it is Rayshawn Williams, and this dude is special. Small guy, not big by any means, probably 5'5", 5'6", 130 to 165 pounds, anywhere in that mix. This dude here is a tough-ass football player, man. He can run in between the tackles. Usually when you see that size and stature, you think everything is going to be perimeter-based, but he will run the power, the inside zone right up the pipe, and he will take it 50, 60 yards right through the middle of your defense. He'll run through tackles. He'll bounce off of tackles. He'll shake you out your shoes. He is a great running back. Part of the reason why Kilgore was as successful as they were this year is because they could be balanced on offense, and being balanced on offense, kind of having Rayshawn Williams allows Isaiah Waters to spend more time on defense and make that side of the ball even better while not losing a step in the run game with Rayshawn back there. He had an incredible junior season, over 1,500 yards. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so you'll see those on the profile picture, but just an incredible running back that can move in and out of his cuts as well as anybody, and just the toughness that you see pound for pound, one of the best players in East Texas coming in here on the list at number 30, Rayshawn Williams. At number 29, the receiver with the best statistical year out of all of East Texas, especially for 10 games. We are talking about the senior from Nacogdoches, and it is Micah Lockett. Micah Lockett, the number one threat on the team this year at the receiver position. He put up over 1,500 yards, I feel like. I don't have it in front of me, but like a stupid amount of yards, and he played with a freshman quarterback. Most people that put up, astronomical numbers usually have a guy that is, a junior, senior, of Division I prospect. Now he's playing with a 5'10", 140, 155-pound quarterback that is a freshman. So to be that productive with a player that's obviously not on the maturity level of what you would expect a varsity quarterback to be just allows you to know how great Micah Lockett was. There was no secret about, maybe the first couple of games he could get you, but there's no secret about what they wanted to do offensively. They wanted to get the ball into Lockett's hands. He does it in a multitude of ways. The screen game, the quick game, the RPO game, the deep balls. He's a great route runner, great set of hands. You really see his hands come out. That ball, the further away from him, the more his hands really show out. He's just a really great football player. Had a really tremendous senior year. And it's different when you're the man. He was the man on his team and at the receiver position. You do not see too many teams built around a receiver, but obviously, that's not the position where you would start out at trying to build a team. But when your receiver is the best player on the team and still produces week in and week out, you have a hell of a football player, and that's what we had here in the senior, Micah Lockett. At number 28, we have one of the most talented guys you'll see on the list. It is the junior quarterback from Palestine Westwood. It is Kavion Bryant. Kavion Bryant standing at about 6'3". Looks like he weighs anything over 180 pounds. And he is the most fluid player with that type of size at the quarterback position. He is fluid. The movement is fluid. The throwing motion is fluid. It doesn't look like anything is difficult for him. and he doesn't have to turn his temperature up too much. You can see him; he's cool, calm, and collected at all times, especially from the highlight tape, obviously. And I think a lot of that has to do with the level of competition. You don't have to sweat, so don't sweat. When things are easy, make them look easy, and that's kind of what Kamian Bryant does on a week in and week out basis. He is heads and tails, heads and shoulders above the rest of the competition down there where he's playing at in Westwood, playing teams like Mahia and all those other schools in that lower divisions, and he lets them have it every single week. 300 here, 400 here, run for 100 here. He can do it any way possible on that level. I, just a great football player. Would love to see. Cannot wait to see what he does on the next level. Cannot wait to see how much of an adjustment it is from playing at Palestine Westwood to playing at a major Division I school, because the senior to be is obviously going to sign somewhere major. He's got offers from all over the place. Some people consider him a 5-star. Most consensus is probably a 4-star on the guy, but he is a special, special player with a special skill set that I can't wait to see get activated. I compared him in preseason to Vince Young, because when you watch the Madison tape, how he moved, how he threw the ball, how everything was easy for him, I think it kind of just real similar. You got a long strider in Kamian Bryant that can step. Doesn't look like he's the fastest, but nobody's catching him. Kind of like Vince. Fluid throwing motion. He's going to get some tutelage and some preparation at the next level. So, like I said, man, at this point in juncture, I think they went 11-2 this year. I can't really justify him having better years than some of those other guys that took their teams further and played a little bit more impressively as in the playoffs. But I think this is a great spot for an absolute stud of a quarterback in Kamian Bryant at number 28. At number 27, one of the more dynamic seniors to play in East Texas this year, a defensive end slash tight end, Emmanuel Harris, the senior from Mount Pleasant. This is a guy that made all types of plays this year. He's unblockable, number one. They had 31 tackles for loss this year. That's number one. 56 tackles, 31 tackles for loss. And the same amount of sacks. I think he went 9 or 10 on the sack number two. And then if you watch his highlights on offense, this dude might be the best pure pass catcher from the tight end position. He will line up flexed out as a wide receiver. They will fade him up. He goes up and catches it like a rebound. He knows how to use the full extension of his body. You can see in this profile picture that one catch he's got leaning, fading away. He's as far as he can, legs kicked out, as far as he can, arms kicked out, trying to go up and get that football. He is dynamic on offense, not used as much on offense because he is just as dynamic on defense. His stat line is as real similar to Trevor Brooks' stat line, who was the number 4 player for the last 2 years on this list. He has that type of production amongst the defensive line. And like I said, offensively, if they would have threw it to him 5 times a game, he probably would have caught 3 touchdowns a game, because he is that dynamic on the offensive side of the ball as well. To be honest with you, he started out on the list in the 60s. The more I watched, he went down to the 50s. I watched some more. He's down in the 40s. And then here we are eventually landing in this spot at number 27. One of the best two-way players playing both offense and defense. From a physical standpoint, one of the best athletic players in East Texas. And he pops up here on the list at number 27. It is Emmanuel Harris from Mount Pleasant. At number 26, another defensive end. This one coming a little south. This one's from Lufkin, and is the senior David Bogani. Uh, One of the best players on the Lufkin team. I think they went 10-2 again this year. And this guy looks to be in the same mode of a Wilburn Smallwood. As of recently, a defensive ends that came through Lufkin. You have your Hadnots, you have your McKenna Dixons, you have your all types of legends that have came and played defensive line at Lufkin. And I think this guy is one of those guys that can put himself in that conversation. I didn't say he's better than him, but he can put himself in that conversation after a dominant senior year. This is a guy that he can flat out play. Uh, he's taught well. He can stand up on that as an outside linebacker. He'll put his hand down in the ground as a 4-3 defensive end. Pursuit after the quarterback is amazing. You can see the savvy and the instincts on the on this highlight tape, he's a guy that you're not going to fool. And he has the type of pursuit and type of angles that if you do get him, he can go make up a play and make something happen out of nowhere. Something about that purple. When those guys are good down there, they are real good. Uh, and I think that's been the case for the last 20 something years down there in Lufkin. Their best is the best. And, it's just about how many of those guys do they have per year on that team. Lufkin was pretty special this year. I think there's 4 Panthers that made the list this year. We've talked about Waters and running back, Smith the corner, and then at defensive end, one of the better players this year coming up on the list at number 26, David Bogani. At number 25, top 25 action here. This is a sophomore receiver from Longview, Texas, and it is Jaden Herndon. This dude right here is an absolute baller. Freshman year, started the year out on the freshman team, got moved up in the middle of the year, and just kind of slowly trickled him in throughout the season. I think he finished his freshman year with maybe 15 catches, a lot of drag routes, a lot of things to just get the ball in his hands and allow this guy to run. He's better after the catch than he is before the catch. And that's not a knock at his route running or hands. I'm just saying when he gets the ball in his hands, he's that special. Physical player out there to receiver position. 6'1", looks like he's either 190 or close to 200 pounds in pass, a muscled up guy. Um, and he's just a guy you got to get the ball to. A lot of deep over routes this year from Longview, a lot of short screens to him. He was essentially the best player on their team. And it's not too many years you have a receiver who is the best player at Longview. You've seen it with Jalen Hill. You can maybe even throw Camden Perry as probably the best player on offense during that state championship year in 18. But it's not too many times you have that in Longview, but when you do have it, you've got to hear in Jaden Herndon, a guy that they find many ways to try to get the ball to and make plays. North Forney was a special game for him. He goes off. He answers every call. Longview, when they put up numbers this year, Jaden Herndon was part of the biggest reason. 7-5 as a record this year is a down year in Longview for sure. But when you got guys to build off of with Trey Hamilton, who came in at number 55, and then you got Jaden Herndon coming in here at 25, there are pieces to build around. And y'all know King, it ain't going to be down for long. So coming here on the list at number 25, outstanding sophomore receiver, Jaden Herndon. At number 24, senior outside linebacker / tight end from Carthage. It is the Colorado signee, Carson Crawford. Back-to-back lists for Crawford. Came in the 50s last year. I think he was like 52 last year. This year he pops up on the list here at number 24. An outstanding and dominant season from him defensively. Played every position. He was an outside linebacker last year, played more on the edge. This year, moved back into a traditional Mike-type linebacker position. Him and Quebec both moved towards the inside. And I'll be honest with you guys, I broke the rules for Carson Crawford. He did not make a highlight tape, but I went and took whatever he had on Huddle and tried my best to try to put something together. Because watching him play in person, I just could not have this guy on the list. And he had enough tape out there from playing offense this year, catching touchdown passes to put a little playlist of him together. So this is not his best slate of plays. I think if he would have made a traditional highlight tape, he probably would even be in the top 5, maybe. But because of what I had to go off of and what kind of player I already know he is, this is why he ends up here just at number 24. But this ain't a slight at this position at all. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he showed a will to win. Him playing offense was pretty impressive this year because he made plays that's just like, hey, they were wheel plays. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get this ball into the end zone. I'm going to catch this short screen. I can't fade people up in the end zone if they're not tall enough. These are just I'm better than you plays. And there's nothing better than seeing your best players play their best when they're supposed to be at their best. And that was Carson Crawford all year long. Fantastic playoff run. Made plays on offense and defense all year long. And he is a great player, ranked out here at 96 overall. So it's not like we're talking about a bum at all. At number 24, Carson Crawford, Carthage. At number 23, senior cornerback from Palestine, Texas. He's a Texas Tech commit. His name is Savorian Martin. And Martin, first thing that you notice about him is the size. This dude is about 6'2", maybe even taller than that. String bean, skinny guy, but that's what you want at corner these days. A guy that looks like he ought to play for Seattle. One of those tall, long corners that will be physical, pass breakups all throughout, man. He is going to get his hand on the ball. He is not going to allow his guy to make a play. Not only was he tremendous in pass breakups and tremendous in trying to turn the ball over in 2025, he was absolutely dynamic as a punt returner. And like I said, man, I love defensive backs that can get their hands on the ball and create opportunities. And then when you're a special team player and you can put the ball in the end zone or flip the field with huge returns, your value is just it can't even really quantify. I mean, I guess you could if you were one of those nerds that sit down and talk about special teams and how they work point for point and yard for yard and possession by possession. But from a fan standpoint, you really can't even quantify how special it is to have a punt returner that can put his hands on the ball and take it all the way back to the crib. It takes all the pressure and relief off of an offense whenever you can score defensively or through special teams. And that's what Martin did for Palestine this year. Palestine, not the greatest team in the world by any means in 2025. So that means every play that he makes it even more special because he's doing it for the love of the game, doing it for the love of his school and city. And what could be better than that? So Savorian Martin headed towards Texas Tech, had a fantastic senior year. Crashes the list. I think this is his first list. Matter of fact, if he did, he made the list last year and it might have been in like the 80s or something. But I'm not all the way positive that he did. Crashes his first list as a senior and pops up here on the list at number 23, Savorian Martin. At number 22, we've got a senior defensive tackle nose guard out of Gilmer, Texas, and his name is Tyler Hagler. And Tyler Hagler has been a great player for the last 3 years. As a sophomore, I think he graded out as an 88. As a junior, he came back, graded out as a 90. This year, he grades out as a 96. I think this year it was the year where everything came together for Hagler. He's always been a productive player, but I think athletically, and the plays that he puts on tape this year just looks like a guy that cannot be stopped. A real nose, real plugger there in the middle of the defensive line. To be as active as he was, making as many tackles as he did, I think he's over 65 tackles as a nose guard is insane. And Gilmer wasn't that good this year, so there weren't that many good players running around making plays for the Buckeyes. So to see him make the type of plays that he made, he needed to make those plays. That team needed every ounce, every single ounce of production they got out of Hagler, and he gave it to him. He's a guy that's played both sides of the ball for the Buckeyes if needed be in the last 3 years. This year, I don't know if he had to play as much offense as he had, I think, in the 2 years prior, but he's a guy that's willing to step over there and play some guard if necessary. Just physical, can't move him, can eat up a double team and still find a way to make a tackle. I think his senior year was just a great end and a great culmination of what he's been for the last 3 seasons for the Buckeyes. And putting it all together, looking dominant, looking unblockable, and being hella productive on the field is why we get the highest he's ever been placed. First year making the list and coming up here and crashing the list here at number 22, Tyler Hagler. And at number 21, one of the more dynamic players off of the state championship team from Carthage is the sophomore athlete. He plays receiver. They'll hand it off to him. He also plays defensive back. One of the more productive players, especially in the playoffs, Jace Harris. Jace Harris is man, he's already special. He's going to be really special over the next 2 years at Carthage. I saw he was like honorable mention all these Texas as a sophomore. I think he was probably honorable mention all Smoky. And I think that's only because he was a sophomore. I think if you watch what this kid does on the tape, there ain't too many in East Texas that you would say are better than him. Defensively competitive, 52 tackles from a sophomore. Had 4 interceptions as well. That ball goes up in the air. He feels like it's his. Offensively, I think he has 752 receiving yards. Also was a big playmaker in the reverse game for Carthage. When they needed a big play, they would find number 12. Jace made a lot of big plays, especially in the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds of the year. And the crazy thing about it, this guy's not even like the number one target. Junior Henderson was the number one target. Another guy from Carthage who didn't make a highlight tape who would have been easily on this list. But um, he was the number one receiver. So this guy was, the number two or number three receiver, probably behind Edwards' little brother. So to see him make the most out of his opportunities and stretch that ball out and get it all the way into the end zone, then defensively be as competitive as he was, always around the football, not scared, being physical, making tackles, and then making plays, breaking on passes, making interceptions. 12 is as special as a player in East Texas. All my chips are in on the guy. I think he's as good as they come. I think he just signed his first UTSA offer the other day. That will be the first of many. He's a very dynamic player and cannot wait to see what the next 2 years are in store for number 21 on this list, sophomore from Carthage, Jace Harris.